Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to the November County Council meeting. If you please join us, stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Joining us this morning is John Westfall, who is the minister at the St. Matthew's Lutheran Church here in Delphi. John, if you would lead us, please, with a moment of silence and prayer. Thank you.
So this morning, let's quiet our hearts and minds as we go to the Lord in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, good morning. Today we come before you and ask for your Spirit to surround this upcoming meeting. Fill us with wisdom, discernment, and increase our faith in you as we move forward in dealing with Carroll County business. Please continue to bless this council and bless the citizens of our county that we serve. In this season, we're always reminded to be thankful for all you've done for us. Help us always to glorify you in our work as we better this county and as we proceed day by day. We pray all this in the name of Jesus, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having me. God bless your meeting. May I walk in front of you?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Topper?
Exactly.
What
Got
else?
saluted that.
Yeah.
I don't see him every day.
Okay, for the record, 6 of the council members are in attendance. Stephen Brown is absent. You have in front of you the consent agenda. It looks like there are a great many transfers that are in front of you. Is there anything that anyone would like to have pulled from the consent agenda to further discuss?
I'd like to pull reassessment and jail additions, transfers.
All reassessment and all there.
All of you,
Correct.
So noted. Anything else?
Move to approve the amended consent agenda.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and it's,
I need to say those minutes. The 1 minutes is not on there. The second one, the adoption minutes are not.
I'd like to add adoption minutes to the consent agenda.
what?
This one.
Oh.
Mark that out.
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah, the approval of the October 20th budget adoption minutes. We don't have those minutes yet, so we'll remove those. Okay, so I've got a motion and a second with the removal of the budget adoption approval minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, I guess we'll begin with the reassessment, the 3 reassessment transfers posted on envelopes, and appeals all into Form 11s.
Are you okay to come up yet? Our So is this to do the new way or the old way, this transfer?
This is to do it the new way.
Right.
Can I speak before?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I recalculated the postage using the actual cost for the years that were there. And, I used a 30% reduction for the parcels that we were able to combine into, somebody that owned 3 or 4 properties and stuff, so that's how I came up with the figure. We sent our data to Midwest Presort, so we could get a more accurate quote, and it did reduce the quote. So, on November 4th, I sent, the revised calculations and the quote to all of you in a letter, with a letter. November 10th, I also stated in the letter that I sent that if you had questions regarding this, I would like for you to come to my office and discuss it with me before the meeting. November 10th, I sent a copy of the transfer request, asking for input and questions. I heard from 3 council members by email. I talked to 3 council members, but I never heard from 1 council member, which is my representative, Josh. So, I would like to say that as elected officials, we are all just like you guys. We try to do the best we can for our offices and for the taxpayers, and when we make a request, we're not trying to be frivolous about it, in any means. We come to you, we ask you for the tools that we need to do our jobs, and we should not feel intimidated or scrutinized in public because you can't come to the office and take the time to discuss this with me beforehand. Nobody else had any questions. When I, asked for the input, nobody else really had any questions and said they felt like if the information I provided was, they were okay with it. It's a transfer, it's not an additional. If we do it this time and it doesn't work out, we'll go back to the way we were doing it before. So, I guess at that, now if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
Are you saying that we shouldn't scrutinize your budget?
No, I'm saying that you could, that you could come to my office, you could take the time, because you as a council member, being my representative, you're being paid to take the extra time to come in, just like this morning. I saw you come in, you could have come in, you were here 15, 20 minutes early, and you could have discussed this with me before today. But you didn't, because you want to embarrass the other elected officials in a public meeting that's gonna be,
I think you're being inappropriate right now, because you have no idea what my intent is, so
Well-
if this is how you wanna feel, if this is how you feel, then we can talk about that on a sidebar. This is not the people's business. And the people's business, which is what we do in this meeting, is to bring clarity and open discussion to how we do this, and it's put on the record.
okay.
So, I mean, if you wanna make a spectacle, this is not the place to do it.
Well, no, it is not, and I asked you to come talk to me about it. But like I said, as a representative, you come to 3 meetings or 1 meeting a month. You're paid $10,000
Nada,
a year.
yeah,
So, but I'm saying, you can scrutinize me up here and ask me about our salaries and those kind of things.
If you would like to challenge the Constitution, please go to the state assembly and tell them that you don't appreciate how the Constitution is laid out and how they go. This is the people's business, and our job is to make sure that the people's tax dollars are spent to the best of our ability. I don't think that you made a compelling argument in the first thing. I've reviewed your information, I have no questions. So, if you feel like, and had we just approved it, who knows what the outcome would have been. So, I mean, the process is here because the net is it improved the outcomes for the
It's
taxpayer.
because they have the data, because I sent them the data to get.
And I said that day, and I will continue to say, the idea is good, but it wasn't fully baked. And you've done that work, and here we are.
Okay.
So what reduction overall?
It's
I
like a
heard you say 30%.
22, well, the reduction in, the 30% is what I figured when we were doing it in-house, that it would save in postage about a 30% reduction.
Okay.
So,
And you were able to group
right,
different
if you,
parcels
right,
together?
if you had
for the same-
4 or 5 parcels, I think 5 sheets would go in one envelope.
Okay.
So, for one stamp. So I went back, like I said, you know, in 2018, they were 50 cents, then they went 55, now they're 60. So I tried to use a more accurate, figure. But with the figures that from the quotes that I have for next year, if we do them in-house, it's going to cost us $12,288.
Okay.
The quote that I have is for $9,800,
Okay.
so that itself is a savings.
And that calculates almost 30%.
Great,
So,
good job.
anyway,
Okay.
and like I said, it's a transfer, it's within the 3,000 line item, and I think technically the State Board of Accounts, you know, she has the authority from the State Board of Accounts that you can transfer if it's within the same, you know.
But they override.
I know, but I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily have to be. So,
And I agree with you, if this will be a trial, you'll do it, and then you'll actually see, if it saves the 3,000, you know it's not gonna cost us more, so.
Right.
I'm good.
Pardon?
Send you that email.
Yes.
I just skip over it. Not found it.
Which one? I mean,
The one that you said you sent on November 4th.
oh, okay, yeah,
Revised thing. Will you send
Yeah.
it to me?
I did.
So I make a motion to pass the reassessment all state lines for the Form 11.
Second. I'll give that to Don. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve all 3 of the reassessment transfers. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and next item, Toby.
Sorry, Tim.
I have one question on the meals for the prisoners. Isn't that a contracted price, I thought, with the outsourcing company?
Well, it also entails, anytime our numbers are bigger, which we've had a number of times this year, it goes outside of that, so. We've been outside of our contracted number, I guess I'll say.
So you actually contracted, actually contract for like our full number?
I never know what the full number's gonna be sometimes.
What number do you
I thought we could
contract?
only have so many.
I can't remember without looking at my contract.
Probably 35 or 40 years.
Yeah, we're actually right about that. Between, if I remember right, it's roughly 35 and 40. And we've been well above 40 a number of times throughout the year.
Just don't feed them.
This morning, we're 39.
Too many.
So this is meals and stuff before you find them adequate places to store them?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we're not,
This morning, we are at 39 in-house and 7 out of
And those are mainly in Cass County?
actually, the other way, White House, if I remember right, we have 2 in Cass and 7 in, 5, yeah. White.
that was the only question I had with it.
So, my question is in the same vein, budgeted tighter than we've ever budgeted this year. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of transfers here. And so.
End of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, like, next year, you know, we have an unprecedented, like, budget. And so, like, and some of this is what it is, but like, and granted, you have about, what, 35 days here. But, I mean, we also don't wanna put the sheriff-elect in a bad position where he's coming at the end of the year. I mean, so, in my head, in 2022, we had a pretty low population for a good part of the year, and then it got back up in that 40 range. So, and we're requesting the $17,000 additional, or not additional, but transfer, $17,000 more than budgeted. So next year, if we have the level that we're at right now for the entire year, would you anticipate that number would need an additional $35,000 or more?
I guess my response to that, Josh, is I said a number of times, our numbers are very fluid. So, you know, we could, I would say, yes, that's a possibility, but, you know, we've been as high as, the plus, I guess I'll interject real quick, in having both Cass and White counties on board and holding our inmates should alleviate what we've got right now. It's just that we've had, in the middle of the year, or whatever it occurred throughout the year, we had that inflation of inmates. And so.
What's the census right now? You said that,
39 in-house and 7 out of county.
and you anticipate that going down then?
It's difficult to say, Josh.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, historically, sounds strange, but it's not the way it works in our business sometimes. We have found individuals that will violate the law because they end up with a roof over their head, a place to stay, and so our numbers sometimes swell in the wintertime. So, I mean, I don't have a rhyme or reason for it, but there historically, if you go back and look at any jail's numbers, they seem to swell in the wintertime.
Now, concerning the contract, remind me what that all entails. What was the total cost? Was it 120?
As far as 23,
No, for the one that we signed, or have you signed, when we first.
well,
went
at
to
the
that.
beginning, I guess I'll speak to it, obviously, at the beginning of 22, there were 110,770.
Okay, 110,000 now.
Okay.
And you mentioned inflation. Is that inflation in numbers or just inflation in cost of food supplies?
That has had a bearing. Obviously, we all know the issue with transportation costs and those kinds of things. So, I mean, although I've not directly spoken with the administration of our the kitchen company we're with, but there has been some carryover from related to inflation as with most consumers.
Is that our responsibility? I would think if we've got a contract, we shouldn't be privy to their extra costs.
Yeah.
That's
Good
what
question.
that's kind of what my question was, if we contracted for 40 inmates or however you figured it, I mean, I wouldn't see why you would contract for less inmates since 9 times out of 10, we're almost full.
Right.
My
contract's
recollection was the
contract.
contract was per person.
Yeah, they had, if you remember, as I remember, there was a range, so if you had, 35 to 40, it was this much per meal, 41 to 45, just going off the top of my head, it's this much per meal.
But in that price decrease, the more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still more people.
Economies of scale.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
So when you did your budget for this year, for next year, I assume that the company contacted you or you contacted them to get a project projected.
yes,
With
and that was
all the
included in my
increase.
documents that I presented to the council.
Right, so assuming that we budgeted because we knew there was probably not gonna be much fluctuation in that.
Good job.
Doc, you have a question?
I appreciate the flexibility of the contract, but it's impossible for you or anybody else to know whether we're gonna have 30 in there or we're gonna have 35 40.
Right.
I respect the flexibility on that.
Well, okay, my other, thank you for the updates. I mean, I think from what I'm saying, we should anticipate a $34,000 additional if,
I mean, bottom line is we gotta feed them.
well, I understand that, but I mean, like, we have to be practical in our budgeting process, and then when somebody, I mean, I would almost consider that an unfunded liability at this point. We know it's coming, it's just a matter of time before it gets here. If inmate levels stay where they are.
And again, you know, I'm hoping that we can take more advantage of White County and Cass County opportunities for us. Granted, that comes out of another line out of the out-of-county inmate housing expense, but, you know, I'm not gonna take more advantage of that.
So my other question was, why is there an additional, and I don't think it was explained on the sheet, why there was a 4,000, transfer for the jail commander? Is that,
Yeah.
what's driving that?
Actually, okay, very, very good question. We learned, being short-staffed, our jail commanders had to actually be a part of the rotation in the regular schedule. And she, per the salary ordinance, she is part of the 80-hour aspect of the salary ordinance. And so, we've obviously had to pay her overtime because of having to work the 12-hour shifts. And so therefore, her overtime is being pulled from the jail commander, line item in 1,000.03. And so, as I have it, the most current numbers that Beth's office has been able to provide us is, the remaining budget balance for the jail commander, salary or pay is, 1,880.57. And, that won't be enough to, particularly, she's still on that rotation, so again, and there's no particular line item for overtime for jail staff, and so it has to come out of that particular line item. And so that's why that number, people will have to over the way past.
I thought I was the only head.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you anticipate by the end of her total overtime for the 2022 calendar year will be in the neighborhood of $4,000?
That's anticipation. We don't know, we're hoping.
And when did this start, her taking shifts?
It's been back and forth depending on our manpower availability. There was about the middle of the year, she was doing that, if I recall correctly. And we were somewhat fully staffed again, and so she went back to her regular rotation, which is basically Monday through Friday, 8 hours per day. And then here recently, I wanna say, it was about mid-September, I remember she had to come on board as part of the rotation.
So, as it stands today, will she be in this capacity for the foreseeable future then?
At least till the end of the year that I anticipate. We do have 2 new trainees on board, and, seem to be doing well, but.
Full-time?
Yes, but as we know, the training, at least in our world, they take every bit of 60 days or more.
And these are jailers?
Yeah.
So staff-wise, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And these are healed.
Yeah, and we, as it stands right now, minus the trainees, we only have 3 of 7, positions filled. We're funded obviously for 7 full-time jail staff, so as it stands, we only have 3 full-time right now. But the 2 trainees, and then we're obviously looking to add 2 more weekends. Fortunately, we do have, 4 or 5 additional applications available, to bring additional personnel on board if those spots filled.
And I think it's appropriate, Josh, you mentioned, we're fortunate in the fact that you're able to transfer these things in. We all need to keep in the back of our mind that these are potentially anticipated costs Tracy Martin. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
One more
Thank
time.
you, sir.
We have, one other transfer from, fairgrounds that did not make the agenda. Utilities to repairs in the same other services line for $100.
Motion approved.
Utilities to repairs, correct, for $100.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That carries 6-0. Okay, and that brings us to review of financial reports real quickly. I'll start off. As of, the end of October, County General, 6.5 million. Edit, 1.05 million. Rainy Day, 3.5 million. Riverboat, 377,000. Correctional Facility, 3.74 million. Jail cap project still sits at, about $1 million. After our, 10-month rate, we should be about 83% budget utilization. As I was going down through, looked like everyone was fairly well in line, matter of fact, a little bit below. We have to keep in mind, we've done additionals throughout the year in some of those budgets, so, those aren't directly reflected in the percentage utilizations. Prosecutors, 78%, commissioners are 71%, council is at 70%, EMS is at 80%, and for the prosecutor is at 80%. Tim, give a rundown?
Yeah, thank you. Emergency management is showing at 43.94% year-to-date, which is pretty low, but I just want to remind you again, we allocated $60,000 for the repeaters, and that has not been spent. So that is making that year-to-date utilization look lower than it actually would be. Once that's spent, it'll be back up more in line to where we should be year-to-date. Fund 1176, MVH, is at 53.9%. That's also pretty low, but there's some funds in there that are allocated that haven't been, or that are budgeted that haven't been spent as well. And then I do want to ask Kent, we just did a transfer into Signman for $2,500 because that line's 108% over right now. It looks like that's only going to bring us back to zero, but we still have another couple months.
Right now, our assignment is working as our third supervisor.
Okay, all right, so that won't be a problem
No.
through the end of the year, you don't think? Okay, good deal. All right, supplemental adult probation is at 80.83% year-to-date, no issues there, and no other issues to draw to the attention of the council.
Very good, thank you.
My treasurer is at 81%, the health is at 43%, and they're running over just because the staff was not filled. Local health is running at 58%, 911 is at 81%, sheriff's at 82%, jail's at 81%, and animal control is at 67%. No problem.
Mine are okay. I don't completely understand this council, but I will try to improve.
The what?
CASA.
CASA.
Clerk, 81%, coroner, 76%, transfer station, 61%, soil and water, 81%.
Everybody is under their budget for the year, and I think that something that just as a budgetary item that we need to discuss as a group. last meeting, Abby and Libby trial has become front and center in everyone's minds. You know, the unfunded liability that some people said would never come is here. So as a body, I believe that we have to, take steps to make sure that we're not the constraint for how we, to make sure that everybody has the resources required to do this. And it's gonna take work from the, department heads to know what, or have some kind of idea of where those resources need to be, so that we can appropriate those funds and have them ready for use, so that we aren't a constraint when they need anything that they need. I don't think anybody's here is going to say anything about what is or is not appropriate. We just need to know what that is. The other thing that is like, we have to, how are we gonna budget is the big question. I talked about this a little bit, and we can't, I don't think it would be good budgeting for us to just put it into those departments' budgets, because then how do we unpack that going forward and baseline that for next year? You know, this is going to be, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It's gonna go into probably 3 budgets, and then, you know, 18 months or 2 years from now, how do you say, where did that start? I mean, it makes it very difficult to say where that started. So, you know, whether we create a new fund, or whether we create new lines within those funds to say that they're specifically Abby and Libby dollars, I don't know what the right course of action is, but that is something that we as a body need to definitely discuss probably today, so that, I mean, this stuff is, I mean, we're gonna have a hearing next week. I'm sure, you know, Nick's not here right now, but I know that the courts and the sheriff's office and prosecutor's office are all working frantically to make sure that they're doing the absolute best job possible. So, I don't know how much of their time we're gonna be able to get. So, I think as much as we can discuss it in this meeting, to say, you know, here's the ideas that we have, does that, you know, how does that work for you? That will increase the velocity of actually getting something done, which, you know, I'm honestly very concerned about, that this could all happen very quickly, and that we get caught flat-footed, and I do not wanna be the reason that somebody doesn't have what they need to prosecute this case.
I'm in total agreement. If we could push that to the end of the meeting and have a lengthy discussion on that.
Yeah, sure. Very good. Good. Okay. Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
I certainly concur. It's, as you say, you don't want to be caught flat-footed, and making sure that everybody hears. I don't think there's a single one of us out here that's going to, oh, gosh, no, we can't spend that. This or that, so, okay, very good, thanks, Josh. And Beth,
There's Elevanta's invoices that I put in front of you, several months ago. We wanted to see them before I paid them. And, I just copied the information and gave it to you. One of them is, $229,716.69. Jail expenses would probably be the,
Could be in the next years, right?
but it would be the most that I can give, except for what we paid for the utility.
So almost all of it has been elevated.
I was.
I
They
know.
paid them, so I believe so. The other, he sent in something that says that reconciling the changes to the design and the contract, for discussions with Greg and the design team. They've changed the full amount, I think, was $459,000, and, this remaining contract amount in place, it says it was $219,600, so, I don't think I have to. I noticed that. $206,550. We come out at $219,600.
Who would come out of that?
I believe so, it's a joint meeting, so the amount due would be $206,550 on this bill. And in actuality, the other one would be $229,716.69.
So we're paying now 400.
I don't believe we're going past the amount that he stated was created in the first place,
Where are these being paid out of?
the jail project.
Jail cap, that was a,
That was the soft cost
to
area.
It's
That's the
on
only
the
thing.
tax account,
put back.
Right, that's the only place I paid bills out of.
Are you saying that there was about 449,000
I
that
think
we,
he said it was 459.
additional, is that?
The design, approach for the prior project was 459,000. Should be on there.
It's on that first, second page.
So, the commissioners have agreed to one, I have not given them the other, I thought I'd just give you both of them and get him to do that. Cause they're gonna say, pursuant to you, approval, so.
What are you asking? Or are you asking?
I'm asking, you guys wanted to approve these before anything was done, so I want you to approve the bill.
And then we just received the invoices.
Yes. We did in October.
So, I mean, back when I had said that, a year ago, or whenever it was that we wanted to see the invoices before we paid them, the biggest thing that I was concerned about is that we weren't exceeding the contract, and I saw this and didn't understand what it was, so I didn't review, so, I mean, is it gonna put us in a bad position if we don't approve them this month? To give us time to review what we've actually paid versus what the contractor design said? Because my concern is that if it's,
Would the contract be different though, because we asked them to redesign the jail? I mean, that would change the contract.
I don't know, and that's, I don't know, no one ever, and this is where I'm going with this, like, they had a design, pivoted from that design, put a new design, we didn't sign a new contract that I'm aware of. And so, what did that do?
They used a different design, one
Huh?
that they already had. And-
Yeah, that's what I mean, I don't know if they're doing it pro bono
Did you
or.
read this letter?
But the 459,000 is the contracted amount, and from what the numbers are, it's not going over the contracted amount. Cause it has what was previously paid on it.
So we're not going over the previous.
From what these numbers are from, it doesn't look like it, cause the contracted amount was 459,000, it shows what was previously paid, and the rest is the balance due. And it says on there with the revisions, redesigns.
Well, we ought to be happy then, shouldn't we? If it's not going over the previous design, right, Teresa?
This is the design.
As long as they're
That's
not,
amazing.
as long as they have what has been paid, matches up to what Beth has already.
Yeah, all of that is what I didn't know.
This has all been paid.
But we've already
And
paid that,
even
and we've
this is
already
what
agreed on
I
those.
If that's the way I read it.
Right.
That's the total contract.
I was taking out this sheet as prior
just-
So it's on the
project.
next.
That's just saying that all of these are completely paid in full.
So that wasn't the design contracted amount, it's all, just goes under the $1 million amount?
I think that's the way I'm reading it.
So we
Well, if
previously-
that's the case, then we should probably check to make sure what you paid.
I agree. I think
So we previously paid that on the
So you're wanting to know the amount that they
Well,
contracted for
it's-
just the design?
Yeah, and I mean, here's, the contract amount of 1.4 million.
I thought the design. you exactly
Yeah.
what you paid. Construction documents have been paid, the bidding has been paid. So now we're down to the construction administration, which they gave us a bill for. Additional services for the redesign. They don't have a remaining amount on that. Additional services. And it started out at the 459, what he stated in this letter. And then taking away the 229,500. So I think
But
they
what I'm
have
saying-
explained it.
Well, yeah, but this is my problem. The contract was for 6% of the building, was their fee. Okay, so if you take 1.4, their amount, 1.436375, divided by 0.06, yeah, that'd be like a $23 million jail. And that's where the rub is from my perspective. Like this list of services does not exist in the contract that I've seen. It doesn't say so much for this, so much for this, so much for this. It says the fee is 6% of the finished project. And so this would exceed any project that we've even discussed. So, that's where that's the breakdown from my perspective. I mean, what I don't understand.
So, are you thinking you're gonna contact them and discuss it and get back with us?
I'll just invite them to the next meeting.
Are you?
I can invite them to the next meeting, you guys can talk to them then, all of you.
Okay.
I think that would probably be best.
Sounds
Need a
good.
motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
Okay, got a motion to table the Elevatus bill until the December meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion to table, carries 6-0.
Next is the job description, and you all have had, and I can send that to you. Was the truck driver, non-CDL. The commissioners approved this on November the 7th, so it's been passed to you.
I just have a quick question about it. This is to help provide more employees
Correct.
because we are so short and that they don't necessarily need that CDL to perform the
We
duties.
have vehicles that we can use a driver that doesn't have a CDL. So if I can hire additional employees that don't have a CDL, right now the CDL drivers are very sparse. Trying to find them.
And what is the wage that I don't see a wage on this today.
Well, it'd be on the salary level.
I was gonna request, $18.
We don't have a non-CDL driver.
Oh, it's a new position?
It's a new
Yeah,
position.
so it wouldn't be, that's right.
So what,
How much?
So how many of these are you trying to hire?
I'll stay below my truck driver positions, just to fill, so it would come out of the CDL.
Thank you.
It would come out of the driver line item. So I've got, I have 23 drivers right now. Well, I'm supposed to have, I have positions for 23 drivers altogether. I mean, my truck drivers, my equipment operators, my queuing storm.
well, I'm just questioning if this needs to be pulled out into a non-CDL driver and not
It
just
should,
bulk
yeah,
with
I would like a
drivers.
separate position.
Just like your sign man's pulled
But
out.
I don't know how many positions. Whatever I fill in this position would come out of the number that would be the CDL
I mean,
driver.
the salary ordinance gives a prescribed number, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the
He has
problem.
14 truck drivers. So you would have to say you're gonna pull out
Two